Welcome back to House Guest with me, Haley Lofennel. I'm a psychic medium, and this is the podcast that connects you to the other side. Today, I give a reading to Valerie. Valerie, thank you so much for coming on. You guys can follow her on Facebook or on Instagram. She's at Worthington Valerie, or you can email her, worthingtonvalerie500@gmail.com. She is a life coach and a Reiki master, so please feel like you can give her a follow and support her and check her out. Also, please subscribe, follow the podcast. Yes, I feel really silly saying that, but it actually helps so many more people find the podcast, which means I get to help more people. And that is the goal of the podcast. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out. This is the first place that you will hear openings coming up for the research project that are going to be on the podcast. So all podcast readings are free. And if you would like to be a part of the research podcast readings, just keep listening. Thank you guys so much, and I hope that you enjoy. Well, thank you. Sorry for actually, when I first started, I feel like I never had technology snafus, and now every once in a while I get them. And I have a funny theory around it. That it means big changes are coming. It could be for me, it could be for you. So sometimes it's all this energy that is coming and it's starting to switch things up, and it could be for both of us.
Got
So I'll put that out there just in
it. Okay.
case.
Yeah.
All right. So have you ever had a reading before?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I love that you're really familiar with it. The thing that I'm going to say is it's just like any other job. Everybody does it a little bit differently. So for me, you'll see me close my eyes a lot. That's pretty common with psychic mediums. I'm not totally aware that I'm doing it, but just so that you know, you'll also
Mhm.
see me looking down. It's because I'm kind of scribbling and taking notes. By all means, it really does look like scribbling. So feel free to take your own notes, especially because we're pre-recording these. It's fun for the podcast because you'll get to listen to it again. So sometimes I'm like, oh, you don't have to take notes, but
Yeah.
we're getting ahead for the podcast. So some of these might not come out until summer.
Okay.
Um, yours is maybe slightly on the earlier end of summer. Um, so feel free to take notes,
Okay.
and let's see if there's anything else that I want to say around that. The Anything and everything can come up, but if at any point you want to take a break, you just let me know. We'll go for 30-ish minutes. Okay, this is the other part. I don't know. I say this every single time. I don't know why I blanked. You'll hear me say a funny part that's, hey, do you have any questions for the other side? And it can be for anyone and everybody that's on the other side, and it can be about truly anything and everything. It can be about yourself, it can be about them, it can be about career, love, relationship, life, anything. They come from the other side in my experience because they kind of know that we have some things going on that we've got questions about. And if I don't pick up on them in the moment, be brave enough to ask them, because it just means I, Haley, my human being self, is not picking up on them. I'm just trying to pick up as best I can on everything that they want to give me, but sometimes I miss something. In the second that you ask the poignant question that you really wanted to ask, then I can kind of work with it. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you have any questions for me before we kind of jump in there?
No, I think I'm good. I'm excited.
Okay, me too. All right, I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to lead us through a little breathing exercise. You can close your eyes too if you want, but you can also keep them open. It works either way. Just start taking a few really good deep breaths. And just start to imagine that we're in a really big, wide open field. Imagine that anybody and everybody you know who has passed away and is on the other side is coming forward. Imagine that they see, hear, and know you, that they love you, especially from where they are now, that they're able to come in and share messages. And then just imagine them coming closer and closer. Imagine that they're here to help with direction and clarity or anything else that you might need today. Then just take a few more deep breaths. You might even start to feel them come so close that you're aware of them in the room with you or near you, maybe even quite possibly one with you. And then just take one more big deep breath. You can open your eyes when you want. Okay, lovely. I actually had someone come in very quickly for you. To me, this is always mom's side of family, and it feels like I have quite possibly mom that's on the other side. Does that make sense to you?
Let's see. My mom is still alive, but maybe her mom.
That's perfectly fine. I'm gonna explain it to you like the way, and that's really good. Hold on, she's gonna talk a lot. She comes in like really, really close, like 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 it's this, and not that she would have replaced mom, but almost this sense of I would have like wanted to take care of Valerie. I'm in there. I know I almost said the word valleys. I think what she means by that is like when we get into the valleys, like the hard times of life, I'm in there. Like I want to help Valerie right in those moments. But do you understand when she was here on Earth, that you guys were quite close? She goes like this. Does that make sense to you?
Mhm.
This is a bit of like the way like she even made my hands feel in that moment is like so sweet and soft and like a closeness that really like meant something to you. Like it kind of pulled you through some harder moments, especially like if we tear down to childhood, is how she puts it. Does that make sense to you?
Nothing is coming up, but I'm listening.
Okay, that's okay. And if it makes sense later, it makes sense later. I'm just gonna go with like where she's leading me. But you do understand the closeness, right, with her? Okay, good. I'm gonna give you this because she keeps putting it in my head. When you're like, "Ooh, nothing's coming up fine," I was like, "Oh, did I get that wrong? Can you tell me it in a different way, or did you mean it in a different way?" She just kind of goes, "No, just give her the age of 6, like Valerie around." And 6 is just a feeling, but Valerie around the age of 6, and then I would have been there for her and I would have like walked with her during that time or helped her through something. So just to keep that in mind. She also calls you like the one of the strongest people, women she knows, like especially getting to watch you from the other side. Very, very proud of you. Like, look how much she's grown. Look how it's even a sense of look how far she's come, as though things have been changed a lot from childhood. Like Valerie's really like brought herself up to this spot that feels so much more aligned and better. And she's for like years now, years and years now, but you have like gotten into as an adult, like truly becoming the thing that you want to become. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
And she kind of pats her heart, pats your heart like a proudness, like I'm so, so proud. Um, I keep asking her, I'm like, can you tell me a little bit more about yourself? And lovely, good. And I think she's going to in a little bit, but for now, she just keeps wanting to reference you. And I'm just going to let her. Okay, hold on.
Mm.
Do you also understand, Valerie, maybe, okay, lovely, good, fine. You even being more of like the caretaker or being an adult at quite a young age, taking on things at like a younger age than most children would have. Does that make sense to you?
I think that makes some sense. Not with the caretaking, not as much, but sort of maturity, maybe,
Okay,
and
perfect.
awareness. Yeah.
She says she jumps from 6 to 12 when she gives me that information, just so you know. She's like, so then around the age of 12, here's Valerie like being more mature than we would expect a 12-year-old to necessarily be. In a sense of like having to be mature for whatever reason. But being like I see you, I get that, I can understand that. That's from her. Lovely, good, good, good. Hold on, okay. She's just gonna come in a little bit closer. Okay, fine. And no, I'm not gonna like leave her out of the conversation by any means. She's gonna be here the whole time, but she kind of goes, I'm the door opener. People on the podcast have heard me say that term before. For me, it's somebody that comes in to like open the door for another person to come in. Or she's like, I just really want to let Valerie know that I'm here because there's somebody else that needs to come through, but please tell her that like I love her. And she gives me a sense of like being a guide of yours, a guardian angel of yours in like I was about to say in some sort of way. She's like in all ways, in all ways. Does that make sense to you?
It feels nice.
Okay. Do you have any questions for her? She'll be here. She's not going anywhere, but just in case you have any right off the bat.
What what work do I have left to do?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, the first thing she says is that you do have to keep going. It gives me a sense of like the thing that you're doing now does it make sense that it has a few more months of it before we're able to like push it off? Like she gives me this sense of 3 or 4 more months, and then what we're doing now, we kinda need to I was about to say leverage up with it, but actually it's more of a feeling of like we need to kinda push it up a notch or push it up a notch, something like that. Does that make sense to you?
I guess it could. nothing is coming immediately to the forefront, but I'm thinking about things that it could refer to.
Okay, that's perfect. And your intuition around it will be more important than mine. Um, and I think that like more people might bring it up in a second. I don't quite want to ask you yet what it is that you do, but I might at some point. But she kind of has me hold off on that because that might like give it some more clarity. But she's like, "Ooh, just tell her for now that it's a little bit more like things." I find there we go. Things are about to like swing up like 3, 4 more months, and there's going to be like an uptick or a swing up in work and opportunities available. And we just need to remember to take is how she puts it, like that we're more than ready to do that. For now, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then she's going to be here. She's not going anywhere. What she did was she made me aware of this is usually where parents do come in, and I know I said mom earlier, and I understand mom's here, but she does give me fine, there we go, somebody else that's important in immediate family that wants to come in. So if I, like, take grandparents out, put mom into the living realm for me, is there, hold on, I'm gonna close my eyes for a second. Mhm. Okay, fine. She just makes me aware of someone, like, closer in the family kinda coming over my heart area, which would usually mean someone that's, like, I've either got, like, I'm not even sure who this person is, to be honest. They're giving me, like, a little bit of mixed symbols, but somebody that's, like, close to your heart and, like, more of, like, immediate family. Does that make sense to you?
I'm trying to think of who it could be.
I'm gonna be brave and just kinda, like, reach out there because I was like, it doesn't quite feel like dad to me, to be honest. I was like, "Are we with dad?" And she's kind of like, "Doesn't quite feel like dad." If dad's on the other side and you want him to come in, you just tell me later. But it kind of feels like she even kind of goes like this, which sometimes I'm like, are we talking about someone younger? And I think that's kind of what it feels like to me. Like we're
Mm.
feeling like younger than parents' generation. So quite possibly like brother, sister in that area. Does that make sense to you?
I lost a cousin who was about my same age.
Okay. All right. And has it been like a lot of time is how they put it. Like
Well,
30-ish years. Does that make sense?
no, no,
Okay.
he passed about 10 years ago.
Okay, that's still a long time, but this feels longer. 30-ish years. I'm gonna put a question mark. It's a little bit like 30 or longer. I know that sounds wild, but does that make any sense to you? And it's okay if it's not, if it's a no. But it feels more like immediate family, or I just feel them coming in so close to my body that I know it feels more immediate than I could place like aunts or uncles or anything like that. Does that make sense
Okay.
to you?
The only people that I've lost are one uncle and my grandparents.
One uncle and your grandparents. I'm gonna put cousin with a question mark.
Grandparents on both sides.
Gotcha. All right. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna close my eyes and I'm just gonna check in. Okay, lovely, good. Hold on. Okay, this is gonna sound really funny. What I was trying to do, I was like, okay, so either give me my signs and symbols to kind of move on, and I'll come back to this person at some point, or give me somebody else to work with. And this person kind of goes, I'm just gonna hang out for a little bit, like as though I don't have a choice. And sometimes that becomes my job, where I'm like, oh, like I hate being wrong. Can we just like make it can you just make this make sense? And they're like, it's okay, Haley, just say what you need to say. So I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. And if you think of this person, that's completely fine later. They don't get hurt feelings if we forget about them. Also, don't feel like you have to go down a rabbit hole with it. But I even checked in. I was like, okay, are we talking about cousin that passed away more like 10 years ago? And I just get like a calm no. And I'm saying this out loud because there's a lot of people on the podcast that listen, like wondering how it is to like sink into this even more. When it's a calm no, like I know that it's something I have to give. So I'm like, okay, so I understand I'm not with cousin. And then I'm like, Are you talking about 30 years plus? And they're like, yeah, it's like 30 years plus. So it's like a while ago, is how they put it. I could have gotten the immediate family member part wrong. Like, they don't make me as attached to that idea. What they're making me attached to is this idea of closeness, though. Like, ooh, like I would have been a part of Valerie's life. I would have been important. And then that part feels more right, where I think of more your generation, like, I'm not talking about parents, but your generation. So it'd be someone like, oh, could be a friend of yours, but quite possibly like a friend that would have felt like family or someone pretty close. And it actually feels a little bit more female to me. Is cousin male for you?
Yes.
Okay. Because he just separates himself out. He's like, yes, yeah, I'm over here, and this feels like this female person over here coming in. Um, so just like to be aware of that that person is like willing to connect with you. And you can of course do any and all of this on your own at any point, but just in case that clicks at some point, just know that she was like here and around.
Yeah, yeah. Please thank her for me.
I will. And I know that's hard even when we don't know who they are. Um, but I'm gonna do female friend with a question mark. And you'll see that on these notes. Yeah. But like just a real sense of like tenderness to her. Okay. All right. Lovely. What I'm going to do is close my eyes. Okay. Lovely. Good. Okay. I'm going to ask you a funny question because you mentioned grandparents and uncle. I understand him too. Is there a grandparent or uncle that you were really hoping to connect in with today?
I was hoping to connect with whichever of my grandparents wanted to join, wanted to share. I knew all of my grandparents except for my mother's father, who passed before I was born.
Okay. There's like this sweetness of like your mom's mom coming in first and just being like, I'm a door opener, and then leading me down to someone like kind of different, which was sweet and funny. Um, but what she does when I ask you that question is she's like, I can bring you the grandparents, and kind of brings them all forward just to let you know again that she has become, it sometimes happens in readings where they're like the door opener for other people to come in. And she comes so solidly for me, like so easy, so solidly, as though, hey, can you let Valerie know that I would be the easiest person for her to connect in with from the other side to then get to these other people, is how she puts it. So, like, if you find yourself on your own being like, I want messages from my other grandparents as well, and I don't get them all out today, just know that she's a good person to sink into first, and then we can get to the other ones, is how she puts it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and this is my mother's mother.
Your mom's mom, yeah.
Okay.
This feels good. And not to leave dad's mom out, because I feel like she's like, "I won't be left out of this." Like, she's like, "I'll come in too, don't you worry." But just so that you know who, like, a good, guide from the other side for connecting to the other side would be just at first. Does that make sense? Okay. What I'm gonna do is close my eyes, and because I kinda felt dad's mom pop in there, and I'm just gonna fix one thing on my chair. Okay, lovely, good. Dad's mom pop in there. I'm just gonna be quiet for a little bit. Hmm. Okay, lovely, good. Okay, fine. Do you understand dad's mom? She comes in quite lovely too. Like, I'm there. I get to be around Valerie. She sounds a little bit different than mom's mom to me. Like, I know that they're different people, so naturally they would have different personalities, but she comes in kind of like on and off, is how she puts it. Like, mom's mom kind of feels there quite often. And she's like, I get to like be with or visit Valerie on and off, but it's always like a lovely time. And I do enjoy that in life. Does that make sense to you? Okay. And then she says, lovely, good. Okay, fine. There we go. Lovely, good. She even comes across as though, can I help Valerie? And I think she comes with her partner, like the both of us could do this, but can I help Valerie with career stuff, is how she puts it. Like, you had kind of asked that question earlier, and she's like, ooh, like, I want to come in for that. She kind of calls herself a doer. Like, I can get tasks done. I would have done that in life, and I kind of would have tried my best, and might not have always been able to, but tried my best to like be on the move and be getting things done. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay, so she's like, that's me. Like, that's an energy that you can work with from the other side when you're like, lovely, good. Lovely, good. Hold on. They're both, this is mom's mom over here. This is dad's mom. And I'm just holding their energy with my hands. Mom's mom says that you guys are actually quite a lot alike. Like, your grandmother, your mom's mom, and you actually have very similar energy. Do you see that?
I had never thought about it before. So,
Okay.
I'll have to sit with that. Yeah.
Okay. And that's perfect and that's fine. Um, but your dad's mom says that sometimes when you like need to get things done, and this kind of feels like daily things, she's like, ask me to come along, is how she puts it. Like, I'm kind of a fun person to hang out with and go get things done. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Episode is sponsored by Demauro. She is a sober, curious lifestyle coach and here to connect with soulful, clarity, confidence, and purposeful living by embracing a sober, curious lifestyle. She offers a 6-month program called the Curiosity Compass, and it's designed for those who want to move beyond autopilot and explore what truly feels right for them, whether that's just cutting back, taking a break, or going completely alcohol free. Her clients often experience a clearer mind, deeper connections, you know we're all here for that, and a refreshed perspective on life. She also just launched a free webinar, so make sure to check that out. It's called Sip Happens, Mindful Drinking for Modern Social Life. It's for people curious about exploring the sober, curious lifestyle, and it's all happening in April. So feel free to check her out and you can join and share. She also has a section in her program designated for resources. And if you go there, you may just see a 10% off code for readings with me. So make sure to check it out. You can follow Mara at Mara Demauro on Instagram. That's MARADEMAURO. Or you can go to her website, marademauro.com, or email her at marademauro.com. Oh, sorry. I'm going to correct that. Email her at info@marademauro.com. We'll also put a link to her free webinar in the show notes. So click there, check it out. Thank you guys, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Okay. She gets a bit of a kick out of it. Hold on. Okay, lovely, good. And mom's mom is just going to take like a few steps back energetically for me so I can connect in deeper with dad's mom. Okay, fine. There we go. Lovely. And she goes, Valerie, you know that we're going to get into and do even she says even bigger things is how she does it. Like we're already like into this thing that feels pretty big. She goes, but we're going to do even bigger things. Like she makes it grow quite wide. And earlier when I was talking about that like 3 or 4 months coming up and things taking an uptick, she's going to help you kind of grab onto those things. She goes, it's going to feel a little bit like an uphill battle. Like, she's like, "I can't quite make it easy for you, but I can make it fun in the challenge." Like, it's in the challenge that we get the most out of it. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I understand. I don't know what she's referring to. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask you a question. Work-wise, do you feel like you are fine, lovely, good. Like, both of your grandmothers kind of give me the feeling that you're currently doing exactly what you wanna be doing. They're like, it's bringing in a good bit of money, like, it's making things feel good, it's energetically where she needs to be, is how they put it. Sometimes I sit with people where that's not the case, and then there's, like, more to get into there, but that's the first thing, and it's a little bit from both of them that both your grandmothers tell me, like, "No, Haley, like, she's in the thing that she's meant to be doing." Now, when I say that, is there any part of you that's like, "Gosh, I was wishing Haley was gonna say something different," or do you feel like you're in the thing that you're supposed to be doing?
No, I feel like I'm in the thing that I'm supposed to be doing, and I have fears about it because of, what's going on with the administration. But I feel like I'm doing the things that I should be doing, and that's owing to sort of a spiritual awakening I had, I want to say close to 20 years ago now. So I had to change a lot of things around and, make different choices and get in touch with my true values.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. I think that that's perfect. I think that it's like just this feeling of and I hear you when you say the part about the change in administration. I feel yeah. It's like we all sometimes feel like we're holding our breath a little bit, and like not knowing which way to go. This is from your grandparents, and this is specifically for you. They say like stay strong. You do have to keep going, is how they put it. because there's something really great on the other end of it. That might even be a little bit of a reference to like the uphill battle quite a few of us are going to have to take for a little bit. But when we get to the top of the hill, it is going to feel like really, really good. Like a oneness is the word that they want to give me. And when I think of that oneness, I think of like, gosh, like just encompassing compassion. So they're like the uphill battle's well worth it, but Valerie already knows that is how they put it. You would have done it 20 years ago. Lovely, good. You just mentioned that, just to be transparent on the podcast. So you did it 20 years ago. We can do it again, is the feeling of that. Lovely, good. And it's a little bit like your dad's dad. It almost feels like she would have helped you 20 years ago. Mom's mom is like, and I get to help you again. There's some play happening between the two of them. Like we can call for different ones for different things, and you'll just like intuitively know. I can understand, that's a funny way of saying it, but I'll say it. They're like, we can understand, Haley can understand that you can understand, Valerie, that you're like quite an intuitive person. Does that make sense? Um,
Sometimes I think so, and sometimes I don't think I know how to harness whatever intuition I have. So I feel like there's potential there, but I don't feel like I capitalize on the potential.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. They call you like a very innate, naturally intuitive. It might even be just sometimes, and just to like throw it out there for you to think about, you're so naturally intuitive that sometimes we question it. Like it comes so easily. Sometimes we question the things that come easily to us, where it's like we can just trust the knowing as long as the knowing's coming without fear or anxiety or any like, sometimes it's just like a solid knowing without any emotion attached to it. That's a little bit how our intuition can work sometimes. There's a multitude of ways. That's how it feels when I tap into them and how they're talking about your intuition of like, it's this very like comforting, just solid knowing. In psychic mediumship, we would call that claircognizance. Clairsentience is what I use the most. It's a feeling, like this feeling comes and I feel into my yeses or nos. Yours might be, and they just touched the back of my head, more of a knowing. Like I just know it's a yes or a no, and I can't put rhyme or reason behind it. And you could practice that in so many different ways, and just see if you can trust it even more. This is an example that I like to give. You could do a very low risk thing to tap into your intuition, which would be, what do I want to eat tonight for dinner? And you pick like a clear something that I'm not going to make you eat something that you don't want to eat, but you pick a meal that maybe isn't like your favorite meal, and then pick a meal that's your absolute favorite meal. So we know what a yes and our no is between those two. And then just for like the practice of it, go eat your no meal. As long as it's like healthy and good, like we're not hurting ourselves with it. But
Mhm.
like we eat our no meal and then we get to feel what it feels like to follow through with a no. And all of a sudden we're like, yeah, I know what it feels like to follow through with a no. I've done that in other ways in my life in bigger circumstances. And so then the next time like a bigger thing comes up that's a yes or a no, we'll recognize quicker our no's um, than our yeses. We're really good, like when we're practicing intuition practices like that, sometimes it's easier even to know our no's, like to just practice our no's first because our yeses are complicated. Our guesses we wanna, like, talk ourselves out of. We want it to be such a yes that we forget that the kind of yeses are just as important, if not the things that actually get us to our yeses. So we'll, like, ignore, like, the maybes all the time, and it's like a maybe is a kind of yes, so maybe do the maybe. But sometimes when we make our no so solid and we're like, "Well, I know that that's a no," then we get more brave with our, like, slight interests or slight yeses. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So if anything is other than a hard no, entertain it.
Yeah, entertain it. I like that. They just gave me the shivers down my spine. I love that. I hope everyone just heard Valerie say that, to entertain it. That's so good. Yeah, entertain anything other than a no. Uh, just to see what it's like to follow through with it, and then really start to notice when we entertain that, how more clear yeses come our way. Um, I think that's perfect. Good, good, good. Do you have any questions around that?
I guess I guess I'm not sure if this is a question. I'll just put it out there. I This is one of the things that I struggle with is so for example, I am technically a Reiki master, but I feel I have imposter syndrome because I don't feel like it really speaks to me, like the energy flows through me. So I guess my question is how to be authentic while I'm trying to um evolve.
I like am obsessed with this question. I love it so much. When you say you're a Reiki master, I get this like, heck yes, like let's do it. Let's talk about it. I have a question for you though. When you are doing Reiki, I have a feeling of the answer around this, but when you're actually doing it, like in the middle of doing Reiki, don't you feel good? You're like, I'm doing it, or are there moments in the middle of it where you're doubting it even in the moment?
There are moments in the middle of it when I'm doubting it too, because I'm not feeling any sort of energy shift at all. I'm not feeling tingling hands. I'm not feeling sort of the physical things that I've been taught you feel.
Yeah, yeah.
So I do doubt it even in the moment sometimes.
And it's a
I
perfect
don't doubt
answer.
it. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I doubt myself.
Yeah, no worries. You can interrupt me anytime.
Yeah.
And that's the perfect answer, really, truly. So I'm going to be super transparent with you, because I feel like it's going to be helpful. Me too. Like there are moments where I'm like, gosh, is this going well? Is this going right? Like we have these thoughts in the back of our head, and they're pointing to that knowing spot again. But just to point that out, but we have these thoughts in the back of our mind that are like, am I good enough? Am I good enough? Am I really doing this? Is this for me? You and I both picked a profession and out of something of pure interest that is so abstract that we can't totally put science around, right? I mean, we are for this research project, like adding some science elements to it. But anytime that I start to really question myself, whether it's in the middle of a reading, which happens in the middle of a reading, um, or like anytime, like outside of readings, and it happens often because we're humans and we do that no matter what our profession is. Even lawyers who went to law school who aced the bar are doubting if that's the thing that they're supposed to be doing and they feel imposter syndrome as well. Um, we have to trust. Like our only job is to trust that the thing we were interested in is the thing that is leading us to either do it in a more meaningful and deeper way, the more we trust ourselves, or does the thing leading to the next thing. Um, the more I trust what it is that I do, the more I get out of it. Not that every reading is absolutely perfect, not that every reading like hits the way I want it to hit, but more often than not, even a reading that I didn't think went well helped in some way. Like I left the person better than they came to me. I have given like a reading or two where I have given a refund because I didn't feel that way. I was like, I don't think I left this person like maybe not. Maybe they were slightly better because I gave some tips in there, whatever. But I was like, gosh, like that really didn't go well. But I didn't give up. I was like, I could give up now. Like, was that my sign? I gave a horrible reading. Nothing made sense. They weren't into it. Should I just like hang up my hat? And I could. It's a choice. And I get to make that. Like those on the other side aren't going to make it. But I'm like, actually, I think I'm going to have to be like brave enough, strong enough, prove it to myself that I can trust myself even deeper next time and forgive myself for the mistakes I made because I'm human. So there's a bit of that coming through for you, like the next time and you do a Reiki session and you find yourself thinking those thoughts, also think the thought, I can trust myself. And I get the feeling that you are just feeling Reiki in a different way than you've been told to feel it. Like there's something other than going on. This is a theory that is happening in psychic mediumship as well. And I don't know enough about Reiki. I do have my level one because at some point I was like, maybe this is a part of it, but Reiki is what kind of led me into this. Um, but it is quite possible that you were just meant to do Reiki in a different way and that you just have to be brave enough to keep going. And I think that goes back to like, you just have to keep going. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I could have, like, given up, I think, at some point, or kept going with like some of these other interests of mine, but there always would have been something in the back of my mind that said, what if? What if I had been brave enough to like do this thing instead? Like this thing that is kind of pulling at me. So just if you have anything like that in your life where you're like, if I stopped doing Reiki now, I might always wonder what if. That's your sign to keep going. Like it's as simple as that. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
It
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
I get like a very excited feeling the minute you mention Reiki, and that could come with like a few other things that you're interested in too, right? So, like, do those things too because they're lighting you up. And when we feel lit up, and I know that that's like in our world, people use that term a lot. Who cares? That's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, I'm lit up. Like when we get lit up, no matter what that is our soul telling us like we're in line. It's another way of saying we're in line. Like this thing that interests us puts us more in line with what we are supposed to do in this world. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And your grandmothers just are sitting with me here the whole time being like, yeah, she's like in line. She's doing it. There's this one, Alona Mar, who's the rugby player that went to the Olympics. She's the only woman I know, and it's on Instagram that says that she never feels imposter syndrome because she feels as though she completely deserves the accomplishments she's had. And I'm paraphrasing, and I thought that was so powerful. I don't feel that way. I'm like, gosh, so that what would it be like to not feel imposter syndrome? I just think it's it's the journey that some of us are supposed to have or supposed to go through. And it teaches us so much more about trust and bravery than anything else could. Like when we feel it but do it anyways,
Yeah.
that's the magic right there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions for me?
Let's see. I one of the areas where I have not had a lot of opportunity to progress and grow is in relationships. And I'm wondering, I feel like that's something that at this stage of the game, it used to be something that I, you know, was afraid not to have. And
Mhm.
now I don't feel that way. I'm happy with where I am, but there are things that I feel like I could learn. There are things that I could benefit from if I had a partner, and I wonder if that is in the cards for me.
I've never heard this from the other side, but I might even take some of this for myself. The minute you said learn, they say, right, she's been in relationships before where she's been learning from them. And like she kind of went into it like, ooh, like, let me learn from you. Like, you show me the way. They go, what if this time you went into next relationship where you're more the teacher? Like, you're actually teaching them and showing them the way and just being yourself. Like, and I think you are no matter what, wherever you go, like you're yourself, but taking on a little bit of that. They call it being like more empowered in a relationship. Like they're making me sit up really, really tall and be like, no matter what the next relationship you find yourself in, let's like empower ourselves and know that you're actually the one teaching them. There's quite like an equal love that comes with that. There's not like a hierarchy in the relationship by any means, but sometimes we get teacher versus student sort of relationship, and they're like teacher, like she's the one teaching them. And that just might like next time you find yourself ebbing into a relationship, try to keep that in mind and see how different it feels, is how they put it. They do put like a friend figure quite close to you. Um, that comes in that's like there's a potential with a friend if you want it. Does that make sense?
I'll have to think about it.
Okay. Yeah, but they're like it's there if you want it. Lovely, there they go. They go, it's there if you want it. But just like even it might even be a friend that you currently feel as though you're learning from them. But and it just be like a mind shift, like the next time you see them, like switch into teacher mode and start telling them about yourself and what you do and the authority that you have in what you do. And there will be some, like, added intrigue, some, like, interest build up and, like, a bit switch of from friendship to relationship is what it feels like to me, and it's still just an option. Like, even when that person makes that switch, you can still even decide, like, yes or no, but it might just be fun energy to play with. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they do say, like, relationship possibilities there if you want it. Like, Is there? We just have
Mhm.
to look at it in a slightly different way. I love that question, though. That's a great question. And I hope somebody else listening gets like if you yourself are finding yourself kind of in learning mode, I'm just kind of in general talking to podcast listeners, but you're also like not finding the relationship that you want to be in, just try switching it a little bit, switch your energy to like, oh, I could like also teach people what it is that I do with
Yeah.
authority. They do make that important for you, Valerie. They say with authority. And also wanting to point out to you, they're like relationship, love, life, career. Otherwise, they say you do have like an authority about you and don't be afraid to use it because you would never use it for bad, like in a bad way. Yeah. Yeah. Your energy's like very calming and calming is always my word for knowing when someone's like truly able to connect in. So just to let you know, it's like the minute you hopped on, and I feel this with other people too. So anyone that's had a reading with me, it's not that I don't feel it with you, but it's something that they're making flow from my brain to my mouth to like a feeling that I have that I like have to tell Valerie. But Valerie, I do have to tell you, like you have such a calming energy to you, which is always my sign symbol for someone that is able to connect into the other side with wide open doors. And so just remember that next time you're doing Reiki, just like a confidence of, I'm truly connected. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really
You're
appreciate your time
welcome.
and your energy. Yeah.
Likewise, I really appreciate it. It was nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you. Is there anything that you'd like to share with our listeners, like where they can follow you if you want, or a website or anything like that?
Yeah, I am a professional health and wellness coach, and I'm taking on clients. It's part of, I feel really aligned with that. So if anybody is interested in health and wellness coaching, they can find me. I'm on Facebook. My Instagram handle is Worthington Valerie. It's mostly pictures of my cat. Um,
I
but
love
uh,
that.
but if anybody's interested, or they can reach me through um, Worthington Valerie 500 at Gmail.
500 at Gmail. Okay. Um, Everybody needs a good cat picture, so we're all gonna go follow you. That's amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much. I really so just so everybody knows, you can email her at worthingtonvalerie500 at Gmail. She's also on Facebook and then on Instagram at Worthington Valerie. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Billy. Nice to
You're
meet you.
welcome. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for tuning into House Guest. Please remember to like, subscribe, follow, share with a friend. It helps us so much more than you know. And it just helps people find the podcast and helps them connect in for themselves, to themselves. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for all of your support. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you so much, Valerie, for coming on and being a part of the study with College of Charleston and for asking such great questions. I hope that all of you listeners got a lot out of that. I could talk about imposter syndrome or doubting yourself all day long. It's so natural, it's so human. And if you yourself are in a moment or a phase or just a minute of that right now, please know that you're meant to be here. You're meant to keep going, and that there are always ways to connect back into yourself, which is through trust. Even if you have to pretend at first, do it. Because when you trust yourself and you learn to trust yourself, or I guess what I want to say about that is when trusting yourself is learning to trust yourself. I hope that helps. Thank you guys so much for listening and have a great day.